One of the most popular French bistros in New York City is Café Chelsea. Their Ravioli du Dauphiné dish has gotten a ton of attention, and the restaurant itself has received a lot of hype. To me, the food from Café Chelsea looked great, so I just had to give the establishment a try. Today I'm here in New York City at Madison Square Park, and it is a gray, cloudy, but charming autumn day. Right now I'm doing a little reading and drinking my coffee, but as we all know, the real excitement comes later. Tonight I'll be dining at Café Chelsea, a sort of French bistro establishment. When the restaurant opened last year, it was one of the hottest places in the city. One of their dishes, a sort of uncut sheet of ravioli, might have been one of the most iconic courses of 2023. Honestly, it felt like last year I couldn't even open up Instagram without seeing 20 damn photos of that ravioli. Even today, if you open up Café Chelsea's Instagram and look at their tagged photos, half of them seem to be of that ravioli course. Well, I'll definitely be ordering it, but I'm also really excited to try their other food. I mean, it looks delicious, and I am so hungry right now. I'm sitting right next to Shake Shack, and Shake Shack smells amazing. Anyway, before I head off to dinner, I just want to say thank you, because last week my channel hit a pretty cool milestone of 50,000 subscribers. All of the comments, all of the support, it means so much to me. I put a lot of effort into these videos, but it is a true labor of love. I love eating and I love sharing my experiences. To sum it up, I'm very thankful for all the support, and without any further delay, let's head to Café Chelsea for dinner. Located in the Chelsea neighborhood of New York City, Café Chelsea opened in the summer of 2023. The restaurant is housed in the historic Hotel Chelsea. The building was constructed between 1883 through 1884 and is a designated New York City landmark. Numerous notable figures have stayed at the Chelsea, such as Bob Dylan and Arthur Miller. However, the hotel has seen its share of tragedy, with one of the most notorious cases being the death of Nancy Spungen, the girlfriend of Sid Vicious. Today, the hotel has entered a new era and has left its infamy in the past. The opening of Café Chelsea has certainly helped to usher in this new phase in the building's long history. I arrived to the restaurant at 5 p.m. for dinner and was instantly impressed with the design of the establishment. To put it simply, it was beautiful. The classic French bistro feel was there, but it also had a sense of elegance. The warm lighting made me feel like I was a character in the film Midnight in Paris. After getting comfortable, I began to look over the menu. For dinner, Café Chelsea offers many classic French bistro staples, but there's also some American touches like the burger. Now, the burger has been a dish that's gotten a lot of hype, and I would love to try it one day, but I had my eye on other courses that night. Next, I looked over the beverage options. There was a fair selection of French wine and an array of cocktails, but ultimately I settled on a beer. I got a bottle of a Duvel Belgian Tripel. When I was in Belgium on a trip, one of my favorite activities was sampling the country's fantastic beer. Duvel is without a doubt one of Belgium's most iconic breweries. After taking a sip, I was not disappointed at all with my choice. It was an incredible beer that had wonderful notes of citrus and paired nicely with my food. And speaking of food, I was first presented with some simple bread and butter. The bread was decent, it was fresh and had a good crispy crust. The butter was solid too. While I was eating my bread, I had a bit of a surprise as I was generously given a small course at the restaurant's panisse. The dish hails from the south of France and is basically a snack of chickpea fries. Rosemary and garlic were also part of the course, along with a side of lemon. First, I squeezed the lemon over the fries and then dove right in. I was simply delighted after taking my first bite. The chickpea flavor was wonderful. The tasty little cubes maintained a delicate but satisfying texture as well. I also thought that the panisse paired perfectly with my beer. So far, my dinner was off to a solid start. Next up was arguably the restaurant's most famous dish, the Ravioles du Dauphiné. It's basically a course of uncut ravioli filled with comté cheese and creme fraiche. The pasta is topped with a buttery wine sauce, black pepper, and a touch of olive oil. It's certainly a unique looking dish and one that looked much smaller in person. Nevertheless, I was excited to give it a try. To put it plainly, that dish lived up to the hype. I loved it. The pasta was perfectly cooked. Each little filled ravioli square was a small bite of bliss. To me, the course sort of reminded me of a cacio e pepe, but in the form of ravioli. As an appetizer, it worked. Although, I could have easily had a whole meal of those ravioli sheets. If the restaurant could have stacked those up to a War and Peace size thickness, I would have been a happy customer. Overall, I really appreciated the uniqueness of the course. While it can certainly be found in France, it's rare to see in the US, and I was glad that Café Chelsea included it on their menu. It was definitely a joy to eat. Following my pasta, I was presented with the main course, the poulet rôti. It was a half rotisserie chicken with herbs, a salad, and a sauce vengeance. The chicken certainly looked appetizing, and I couldn't wait to dig in. My first bite was a hot one, and I'm talking temperature-wise. That chicken seemed like it jumped straight out of the fires of hell and onto my plate. Despite the heat, it was a good chicken. The flavor was nice and savory, and the seasoning on the skin was pretty solid too, although that chicken wasn't perfect. I felt like it was slightly dry, but not to the point that it was unenjoyable. It was still a good roast chicken, it's just that I've had better. Alongside the meat was a simple salad of greens. The salad was fine, but there was nothing special about it. At least it seemed healthy. Overall, the roast chicken was a decent dish and I enjoyed eating it, but I was hoping for just a little more. It was right around this time that the restaurant dimmed the lights a bit, which made for a more intimate and romantic vibe. Soon enough, I finished my chicken and it was on to dessert. There were some intriguing options on the menu, including an île flottante, which is also known as a floating island. It's a dish I hardly ever see, but instead I decided to go with the dark chocolate soufflé. Unfortunately, it's a course that could take as much as 30 minutes to prepare. I kind of wished that my server would have alerted me to this as I was finishing my chicken so I could order the dessert ahead of time and it would come out in a timely fashion. Thankfully, I only waited about 20 minutes for the soufflé. My server made a couple of cuts in the center of the creation and poured in some luscious chocolate sauce. The soufflé was beautiful and certainly eye-catching with the flakes of gold on top. I couldn't wait to give it a try and I wasn't disappointed. Frankly, that dish is a chocolate lover's dream. It was heavenly. The course was perfectly cooked and texturally on point. Flavor-wise, it was rich and decadent. To sum it up, as if it wasn't obvious, I loved it. Plus, the fact that it was a soufflé and is not something that I get to have very often made it even more special. Overall, I couldn't have asked for a better ending to my dinner. In conclusion, I had a great time at Café Chelsea. For a good French bistro, it delivers what you would expect, but with some nice surprises. After finishing my dessert, it was time for the bill, which totaled to $101.25, but with my tip, I spent about $122. I was happy. So I just finished my dinner at Café Chelsea. I walked back over here to the park. That was a very enjoyable meal. Everything I had was pretty tasty. Although the chicken wasn't perfect, it was still pretty enjoyable to eat. Now the ravioli, that lived up to the hype. It was so good, but it went so fast, it was so tiny, but it was a true joy to eat. And that soufflé, my goodness, that was heaven in a bowl. I loved it. I bet that would have went so well with some nice strong black coffee or espresso, but it is getting late. I didn't want to have caffeine this late in the evening. However, I still really enjoyed that soufflé. Besides the food, I enjoyed all the other aspects of the restaurant. The design of the place was really nice. It had a great atmosphere. It had an energetic sort of feel to it, but the noise level I thought was still appropriate for the type of restaurant it is. The service was on point, everything came within an appropriate time frame, and yeah, I really enjoyed myself. In terms of the amount of food I ate, I feel like I'm adequately filled up. I'm satisfied, although once again, I'm seated right across from Shake Shack and it smells so good. I love Shake Shack, but I'm good. To sum it up, I really enjoyed my dinner tonight at Café Chelsea. I'll definitely return, especially to try their burger, but tonight was certainly a great start to the evening.